Yes.
But compression will take.
Yes. Remember, in this case, the data really goes directly from Nexenta store, but so the data is not compressed. So the one advantage is if you use ZFS compression, okay, various compression levels where the data is actually stored in compressed format, then the data goes in compressed format. So if you use file system compression, it'll be preserved. That's what I meant. Please. So next, the few slides on what we do as Zmanda does. So we basically provide open source and cloud backup products. Apart from Amanda Enterprise version, which has a very similar relationship with something like Nexenta talked about. So we have a community version, which we basically all that mainly do is we contribute to it. We have an engineering team which contributes to it. We build packages for various platforms. It goes through our tests. Okay, in the case of we do manages release management and so on and so forth for that.
File size limitation on the community edition?
No, there is no. It's okay. So I can talk about the differences between the two. Actually, the next couple of slides talk about that. So we do support ZRM for MySQL, which is a MySQL backup product, which is resold by Oracle. Also, it's very similar to Oracle RMAN. We have a Zmanda cloud backup, which I think Chanda will be talking about more about in next talk. And we actually contribute to various open source projects. It's just not Amanda. We contribute to other backup products such as Backup PC, Clonezilla, Knopex. In fact, we submit patches to Nuta, things which we depend on. And we use open source a lot, open tools actually like BuildBots, where we actually build and test. So we contribute to that also. And the other part where we really make a big contribution is we work with enterprise products. Enterprise partners to make a complete solution. So big companies like, for example, even Red Hat don't like to work with a particular open source project specifically. They want to have some company behind it. So we actually work with them to offer solutions and test and so on and so forth. So a good example is, for example, for us to do anything with Oracle or something like that, there needs to be a company behind it to do certification and make sure it's part of the certification matrix. So the few additions what we do beyond community is the web-based management console, and we have a rapid installer which installs the software and all the dependencies. So that's the other advantage. And the UI is pretty easy to use. It's a web-based UI. So you need to configure backup what, where, how, and when, and activate it. Usually you just need to configure backup what, and you can directly go activate it. So pretty much all the other things have defaults. And for management reasons, in terms of what you want to back up, we have a notion of backup sets. So everything, all the data which is part of a backup set have the same policies, share the same policies. So you can have maybe all this data goes to a particular set of media and so on and so forth. This is a good example of a report. So we do have custom reporting mechanisms inside what we call Zmanda Management Console. The look and feel is shared with the other products which I mentioned, and we extensively use open source tools to create this product. One good thing is when iPhone got our software directly worked. In fact, there are users who use the console with smartphones, especially for monitoring and so on and so forth. I can't see, for some reason the URLs are kind of missing, or it's in different color. So what is Zmanda Enterprise Edition is an annual subscription with different support levels, including 25/7 support. We do have so you'll find demos of our product, and you can also join Zmanda network for more information. And I think probably if anyone is interested, I can provide you the URLs. It doesn't seem to be appearing properly in this slide. Okay. So any questions? More questions?
Yeah,
Yes.
Question.
Sure.
So one of the differentiators between Zmanda and Amanda is the GUI console.
Yes. So I can go through so GUI console is one differentiator. The second aspect is the Oracle, VMware, and Windows. Some applications are all only available with the enterprise edition. So the way we differentiate is the core part of Amanda is pretty much open source. In fact, we don't have even an internal tree to manage it. Everything is done externally. So you can see all the changes committed by our developers directly there. It's pretty much an open development as such. The parts where we cannot do it is because we will be, for example, VMware does not allow us to share the API. So we get it because we pay them, because we are a VMware partner, we pay them money to get the APIs. So we cannot, when we write code on this as a part of the agreement, we cannot put it in public source. So Oracle falls in under that boat, and some Windows applications do fall under the boat. So those things are extensions, and on top of it we have the UI. So from the question which you said is, if you don't check the community, you can do everything you want on that. Pretty much in some times I have to say our engineering provides better support than a support team, because they look at forums and IRCs more often, and so you might get better support that way too. But in fact, as I said, we do have a dedicated people who just do only the work which is external, and in fact they are free to do pretty much whatever they want.
And what's the licensing model?
Okay, so it's a protected system. And in fact, as Nexenta said, we also have open pricing, so you can go to our website and find it. So it's always on protected system, and it will be, if the system you're protecting happens to run an application you're doing or something like that, say Exchange or something like that, there'll be some additional cost.
There's no capacity or no core or CPU-based pricing. It's number of systems.
Okay, so if I have a big giant NAS,
same price as that is. So we don't care about how much data it is. So we don't, from our perspective, Amanda is scalable, so we don't really do much effort to make it.
What do these plugins do additionally? I mean, they're doing incremental backups, or?
Oh, okay. So yes. So the two types of plugins we have. Say there are more, but general top. One is application plugins. So anytime a data needs to be received with Amanda, core Amanda, is received through a plugin. So plugin knows knowledge about how to quiesce the I/O, get a consistent view of the backup. Good example, let's take a ZFS. So what a plugin does is it takes a snapshot, and it knows what snapshot was taken and performs the backup from the snapshot. It uses various archival mechanisms to stream the data to the Amanda core. That's what application. So the application plugin is very important. Otherwise, without it, you will not be able to do anything. Okay.
So let's say I have a Oracle database.
Yes.
And I did a backup last night. Now I added 2 more records.
Yes.
Is it going to back up just two records? Or?
It will back up just the 2 more records. So Oracle actually supports block level incremental backups. So any changes to the database, which is just for the changed blocks, get backed up. It's up to your configuration. There are customers who want, since the size is small, they want only full box, everything every time. Remember, there's a cost on just backing up the 2 records which you mentioned, and anytime you want to restore, you need to have both the backup images. Whatever changed. So there is a trade-off, always a trade-off, and pretty much Amanda, as I said, is flexible. You can come up with saying, this Oracle instance I want full backups every day, on the other one I just want an incremental, or I want just the table space or the archive log, whichever piece you want. Excuse me. So we actually use the RMAN interfaces. So one thing is we don't, for example, in the case of VMware which came up, there are a lot of hacked ways of doing backups, and we don't do any of them. We use the standard APIs which is provided, and so on and so forth.
If I have a Microsoft Word document,
yes,
10 megabytes long, I go and add a new sentence at the end of the Word document.
Yes.
Is it going to be?
In the case of Microsoft, yes, the file system backup will back up the whole file. It's a file level. It's not block level. So it actually depends on the application plugin. Actually, this is the other fun thing which I talked about. Yes, there are application plugins. In some case, it's for certain, especially for file system, it's a file level backup.
I think probably the VMware client is where the block level incremental is most useful, because even if the VM is not doing anything, it will probably change something, a boot record or something. So the block level incremental there is probably the most useful incremental.
Yeah, and so in the case of, the answer is, in the case of virtualized environment, we'll back up only that particular change. Okay, so it's because our VMware application agent does block level incrementals.
And on the compression, so there are 2 ways of compressing data. One is on the fly, as the data is coming in, you start compressing. The second is 2-pass compression, because that way you can generate better.
Sure.
So does it support?
We basically do all our compression is on the fly compression. We don't do 2-pass compression. Partly, we don't do 2-pass at all. The one.
Remove the need for deduplication.
The thing is, one thing is all compression algorithms. I think probably Garrett talked about more about differences between deduplication and compression. Deduplication is generally expensive. Okay, but it's a backup archives a very excellent candidate for it. I have to say you'll get huge differences. For example, nearly 25x on odd compression rates you can easily see because backups have a lot of duplicate information. Okay, so in those cases it's just like deduplication. There is on-the-fly deduplication and it's 2-pass. In most of the compression algorithms generally do on-the-fly because they are not very expensive in terms of resources.
Actually, I'll put one caveat to that. As a practical matter, if you are going to be doing, for example, encryption on the backup, then you will have no benefits of reduplication.
Yes, that's another thing.
So what we have seen as a practical matter, most of our important customers use encryption, and they don't see any benefit of reduplication.
So,
After compression.
No, so those two are, you should do one. If you do compression, then again you will lose all benefits of deduplication, mostly, because your hash marks will be off in some way.
So basically in the Zmanda case, the compression is always done before encryption. So you can get both basically soft. One thing is in the compression, we have certain partners who have compression implemented in their PCI cards, and so you can do hardware-based compression also. In all cases, the data is compressed and then encrypted, so you get the benefit of compression. This is when you're using something like Exenta Store as your secondary media, tertiary media. What will happen is, if you're already compressed or encrypted, you won't get this 25x. In some cases, it might even be worse, especially with an encrypted data. Deduplication might increase your size. It will be, you'll waste all your resources trying to find the common blocks, and it's a kind of a bad idea. So that's one thing which it's not just Exenta Store, like data domains of the world haven't solved it. Basically, they say it's just not possible. It's kind of two concepts that doesn't mesh well with each other: encryption and encryption and deduplication.
And the clients are available for Windows, OpenSolaris, Linux?
Yeah, so we have clients for Solaris 8, 9, 10, OpenSolaris, Windows starting from XP onwards, and all flavors. We have Mac OS X clients and various flavors of Linux. Like server we don't support on Mac OS X and Windows. We don't support servers.
No server on Windows?
No server on Windows.
You really want to run backup server on Windows?
As a client or a backup server?
I mean,
As a backup server, yeah.
client backs up Windows servers.
Okay.
Yes.
What Paddy means by server is the server.
The Zmanda server. The Zmanda server cannot be on Windows. Okay, thanks a lot. Nice questions, and thank you.